All right, guys, thanks for joining. Thanks for coming on. I have a friend with me. His name is Steven, and he is our somatic or our breathwork practitioner here at Blue. So I'm just going to let him go and do his thing um, and tell us what you do.
Hey, everybody. My name is Stephen, and I am the breathwork practitioner here at Blue, which is a metaphysical shop. So we're doing lots of cool things and having different practitioners come in to share their practice with healing and transformation. And so the type of breathwork that I trained in is called somatic breathwork. So somatic is a big fancy word for a lot of people. So if I break it down, soma means body, and somatic means of the body. So we use breath work to tap into the body so that we can connect our mind and our body to help flush out our stress, our tension. And breathwork has a lot of things that help clear the things that get stuck in our body. So there's a lot of stress that we go through in life. There's good things, there's bad things, there's moving, there's death. So there's positive and negatives that can happen. And the body doesn't know the difference between good stress and bad stress. And so breath work is a great way that is also natural to help us to clear out the stuff that gets stuck in our bodies. And obviously, there's a lot of ways to do that, but the way that I do it is through breath work.
Beautiful, beautiful. So tell us how we can reach you, first of all. How can we find Stephen outside of a healer's message?
So I named my business. I'm a little bit of a rebel and kind of like to try to do things that are different. My company is called Embrace the Darkness, and it gives honor to the things that we go through in our lives that we can or we label as the darkness. And also a little bit what I've talked with Nina is and what she's going to be doing is a shadow work class, which although I don't specifically do shadow work, I want to, in a sense, shed light that in our lives there's light and there's dark. So if we ignore the dark, if we push it down, then sometimes it can come back up in ways that we know in our behaviors, and sometimes even subconsciously, like we don't know the things that are happening and we might react more to things. And so embrace the darkness was a way of honoring that we go through some bad stuff at times. And so my website is embracethedarkness.org, and obviously here too on YouTube, it should be Embrace the Darkness, and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. If people search Embrace the Darkness LLC, I added the LLC because if you search Embrace the Darkness, you'll get lots of different things. But if you search Embrace the Darkness LLC, then my stuff should come up for you to find me.
Perfect. Now, how do we do breath work or what does that look like?
Yeah, a lot of people, or I should say, there are a lot of different styles of breath work. And even if you Google somatic breath work, you're going to see a lot of intense videos. And I like to tell people that because although if people wanted to do breath work with me, it could get there. But I want to make sure that we have a foundational practice so that people understand the power of the simplicity of just doing deep breaths. So some people call it circular connected breathing, and some people call it diaphragm breathing, and they're pretty much the same. The way that we do it is for the first half, it's deep breaths in and out of the mouth, deep into the belly. So just feeling your stomach expand, and a short exhale. So it's almost like a contraction. So as you take a deep breath in and expand, you want to feel your stomach come out, and then you always want it to be like a because it helps to contract the body and activate the stress and move it around. And then the second half is actually breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. So it's still deep breaths, deep into the belly, and then nice long exhales. And that's just the two. And what I love about breath work is too is like even though with all the instructions, I guide it. So I'm like, you can forget everything that I told you because I'm going to guide you through the practice, and then you get to experience the shifts in energy and how you feel.
Okay, so when would be the best time for us to do breath work then? Like when would be the best time for us to utilize this?
So if you're doing a full session, like an hour session, I would say do it more in the evening because sometimes people feel more grounded and more relaxed, and it can help them to sleep better. If you're doing it in the morning, you can do either a 1 to 5 minute practice, or you could do a 30-minute practice where it's more focused on deep breaths in and out of the mouth because that's going to help activate the body and it helps to increase energy and mood.
Is there anything else that you would like to add, or is there anything else that we should know about Stephen? How did you come into this practice? How did you get introduced to all this?
Yeah, so my background is actually in social work, and so I've done that for the last decade, working with people through grief and loss in the military, grief and loss in the civilian population. I've worked in crisis and suicide intervention and prevention work, doing trainings, supervising the crisis line, and I've also done some work in maternity support services and infant case management. So I've literally worked from people from life to death, and then everything in between with like anxiety, depression, people who are overwhelmed and might not feel like they don't want to live here anymore. And so I've worked with all of these different things and using cognitive behavioral therapy, which I think a lot of people understand, even though they might not know they're doing it. So how our thoughts can impact our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. So our thoughts can impact how we feel emotionally, and then that can also impact how we behave and how we act in our relationships. And that can be powerful for some people to help them reframe some ways that they're thinking, because sometimes we just have what people call ants, automatic negative thoughts. And it could be just from our experiences, from our parents, from society, from our teachers, from strangers, from social media. And so things like CBT can help reframe how we think. But I think what's missing is the body aspect. So doing all the things, learning in social work and trauma informed workshops and person first therapy and working with people from a strengths based perspective again is awesome. But I've kind of shifted into how do we honor the stuff that the body holds on to. And honestly, I was learning breath work just to be like, oh, this is a cool tool where people don't have to talk about their trauma. People don't have to talk about grief or the things that they've gone through. And it's amazing how they're still able to kind of process without having to like re-traumatize themselves or to have to even think about it. They literally just breathe, listen to music, and I guide them through. And I think one of the cool things is there was a session here tonight where we had 5 people in the breathwork class, and one person had a lot of gratitude because they were like, I finally felt like I could receive love. And I think that's something that we all struggle with, right? Our self worth. Am I lovable? Am I enough? And again, no one's talking, and we're all just breathing. I'm playing music, I'm guiding them through the process. And I always usually end my sessions with um, a guided like kind of a guided script of love and self-love and breathing in love, and if there's someone in your life that you want to give love to. And again, it was amazing because one person said that they were trying to give love to the room, and another person that I'm talking about wanted never felt like they could receive love because they didn't think they were worthy enough. So again, it's amazing that someone can have that experience and start to fill their cup up to let themselves know that they are worthy, again, without people saying like you are worthy, because I know that sometimes when we say that to other people, we might feel like we're not. Like even if I tell you you're worthy, Nina, sometimes something in us can go like, I hear you and yes, but like no, because like our internal beliefs are like, no, I'm not. So it's kind of cool that breath work can facilitate that. And then as I round myself back, because I kind of went down a little tangent, I was learning breath work to teach, to be able to guide people through another practice to help them with mental health. And my experience is tied into my past. So this August will be 23 years since my sister had died. And it was also a car accident that I was also in. And so that has been a huge shift in my life where I, have now lived more than half my life without her. And how I'm a social worker, I've done therapy, I've done support groups, and now I run support groups and I do grief workshops. And I thought that there was like nothing left for grief in me. And when I was in my seventh breathwork session, like I immediately thought of my sister, and then the tears came, and it was just a different way for my body to get rid of the grief that was stuck. But again, like, at that time it was like 20 years, which is still 2 decades, where it was like there was still that grief that was somewhere in my body, and breathwork helped to get it out.
Nice. So I just want to say for the 16 people that are watching the video right now to give it a thumbs up or comment below if you have any questions or comments that you would like to add. Um, Steven's, again, his website is embracethedarkness.org and his social media is Embrace the Darkness. So do you want to take us through a little bit of a breathwork session? Do you mind doing that while we're here?
Yeah, sure. I think we'll do a quick, even just a 1 minute practice, because I know how powerful a lot of people are like, oh, wow, I can't. It's amazing how 1 minute can increase our energy. And so, again, what we're going to do is we're going to do deep breaths in and out of the mouth for a minute. So, I'm going to watch the timer. And then at the end, we'll do a breath hold so that you can kind of see the difference in how it feels when you hold your breath after you activate so much energy. Okay. So again, it's gonna be deep breaths in and out of the mouth, deep into the belly. So let's begin. Feel your stomach expand. Halfway there. And then hold at this one.
Sorry, I couldn't hold it much longer.
Nope, that's okay. Everyone's different. Sometimes people can hold their breath longer and sometimes it's shorter. So in the breath hold, sometimes it's breathe. Sometimes people like to breathe in halfway instead of full way, because when you breathe in fully, then you get like the like you got a cough. But it's different, like, right. So when you're doing a whole session, I actually slow it down a little bit so that when we take a deep breath, it's not as like, because there's a lot of energy that we're doing in just 1 minute. That when you take that one last deep breath in, it's like the energy just wants to come out.
Exactly. Well, thank you.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing. I'm glad to have experienced this with you. I'm glad to share the space at Blue. Again, guys, Stephen does somatic breath work, donation based Tuesdays and
Yeah,
Wednesdays
yeah. Tuesday, Wednesday morning, and then Tuesday evening.
here at Blue, which is in Uptown in Richland, Washington. So thank you guys again for all the love and support. Thank you, Stephen, for joining us. And I look forward to seeing you guys again soon.